All right. Okay, I think everybody's returned. We're going to talk about Facebook Live. There are tons of benefits about Facebook Live. I am going to give you a formula for success. We're going to talk about what is important when you're using Facebook Live, how to go about editing your show, promoting your show, and then we're going to talk real briefly about the technology required to do it. And then, like I said, this was one of those that I had to rebuild, so this is a bad screen. Okay. Facebook loves Facebook Live. This goes back to their world domination. Their vision is eventually we won't even have TV news how we currently have it. It will be completely broadcast through Facebook Live. That's their goal, okay? So because they love Facebook Live, if you notice, the very first option on your phone is go live, right? So they absolutely love Facebook Live. The reason for that is why it's important for us is that you're going to get great organic traffic when you use Facebook Live. It connects you directly with your golfers. You become an absolute person. You're totally in a relationship with them. You can create your own golf show. I don't know these guys. I just Googled golf show, and this was a picture that showed up. But the point is that if you want to have a golf show where you're only giving away maybe golf tips like 3 to 5 minutes a week, you can absolutely do that. Also, you can take that video and upload it onto YouTube, and then you have something that is searchable there. So you can absolutely create your own show. And the key to it is when you are consistent. You can provide tips, tricks, pointers, all sorts of different things to a huge variety of people. So take a look at your staff and figure out, first of all, A, who's comfortable in front of the camera, and B, what is their skill set that can help your golfer. So you're trying to solve the pain points of your golfer. So this means that maybe your golf pro does not feel comfortable in front of the camera, and so a golf show about how to improve the golf game may not be ideal for your golf course. But maybe your event coordinator is phenomenal at planning weddings, and so then you have a wedding show instead where they are giving tips on how to be organized or whatever. There's tons of people love how to do this. So just look at your staff and figure out who has that capability. The other great thing about Facebook Live is it helps to build your email list. And we're going to cover exactly how to do that in the afternoon presentation when we talk about growing your email. And this is the greatest thing about Facebook Live. So Facebook Live is going to help you build your audience, because what you can do when you're creating a Facebook ad, you can say, I want this ad to show up in front of everyone who watched 50% of this video, 75% of this video. So it basically is giving you an audience that is very warm. So if you're doing a Facebook Live about a chipping clinic, and then let's say you want to have a sale on your wedges, you can go in and say, I want this ad to show up in front of everyone who watched my chipping clinic. Because that's a pretty warm audience. If they were interested in chipping, they might be up for buying a new wedge from you. You have to be consistent. Here is the formula that you want to take when you are doing your Facebook Live. So you want to have your general intro, hey, Allison here, was your fun? And today we're going to be talking about X, Y, and Z. And then I might give, that would be my hook, and then I'm going to give some sort of a background story of why it was I decided I wanted to teach this thing. And then I'm going to give my 1 to 3 teaching points. So for instance, if I'm doing a chipping clinic, say, hey, I noticed the other day that we were having trouble with a downhill chip, and I'm going to give you some pointers so that you can whatever. And then you're going to talk about how you line your shoulders and how you take the swing, or whatever the teaching points are that you're going to make for that day. And I've been doing this for about half of the summer, and the ones that have been the best are when he provides homemade teaching aids. People love that. I don't know why, but they love when he will give, Bob is who does our Facebook Lives, and when Bob provides a homemade teaching aid, boom, everybody loves it, and it goes, gets far more not likes, but views, thank you. All right, and then you're going to give a summary of what it is that you taught, and then you're going to give, this is extremely important and everybody forgets this, you got to tell your golfer what to do next, because whoop-de-whoop, so you did Facebook Live, but this goes back to having a strategy. Your strategy has to include a call to action. That's what CTA is. So if you are going to do a Facebook Live, you got to have a strategy behind it. What are you wanting that golfer to do? Are you wanting them to sign up for your email list? Are you wanting them to call for a tee time? What is it that you are wanting them to do next? You got to give them a call to action. And the biggest part of Facebook Live is you got to get out of your own way. And I speak from experience. I have wanted to do this for probably, I don't know, 18 months or more. And I mean, I had these great plans, and I just always kept putting it off. And the guy who does my lives for me actually is my neighbor. He lives across the street. Just a real personable, great guy, and he's out on the range all the time. And people just really like him. And so I had talked to him last year, hey, would you ever consider just doing like some tip videos for me? And we don't have a pro at our facility, we just have a teaching instructor. And he comes late in the evening, and I like to be home by then. So, and that was why I hadn't asked him. So, and I was just so nervous about doing this, just dumb. I mean, my brain was just causing a huge problem with this, and that's totally normal. So just get out of your own way and just own it and do it. It will be successful, I promise you. So the thing is that you need to do is you got to be prepared. So Bob, I mentioned this to Bob, and he was awesome. He didn't hesitate whatsoever, and he said, here are 12 topics that I would love to do Facebook Lives over, and he gave me a little printout of them, and just kind of like a couple of little teaching points that he was going to make. Made my life super easy. The next thing you want to do with your live is you have to engage with them. You want to say, hey, you want to have a question? Get in there and ask, and engage with that person. They can actually ask you questions. Has anybody ever done Facebook Live before? All right. So you have to, they can get in there and ask you questions live. So if like you're doing a teaching point or something like that, the person who's watching can actually say, hey, what are you doing with this? And then you can respond in real time if you want to, or you can go back and respond later. So it is awesome to engage with. You've got to give that call to action. You've got to send them somewhere. You need to have a strategy behind why you're doing it. You also really want to have good lighting. This is pretty easy for golf courses because probably you're going to be doing it outside. And if you do it outside, it's better to do it in the shade. That way the person that you are taking the video of, their eyes are open. And the lighting is just in general better in the shade. If you decide to do something that is inside, this is called a DV ring, and it just is like this fluorescent light that goes around, and you put it out here, but it lights up your face, and so that makes you look good. All right, and then you have to be yourself. So this is where, if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, you just kind of have to put yourself out there and give it a try. You can actually do a Facebook Live where no one is actually watching it. To do that, you have to set the settings to be only me rather than having it be public. So if you're kind of nervous, like, okay, I want to do this, but this is awkward, it's that globe thing. Right here, right? Anyway, you click on the globe and you set it to only me, and that way it's only showing up just for you to be able to see. And then you have to be consistent. Consistency is the key when it comes to all things social media. I am not kidding around. Taking 15 minutes a week doing a Facebook Live video makes a gigantic difference. So in July, I finally put it on my calendar, 10 a.m. every Monday morning, we go live. And I made a commitment. And since then, I have grown my email list by almost 500 people who have signed up to know when Bob is going live. That made a huge difference, and I don't even know if I've spent an hour on it yet. Okay? It is just awesome. And people stop and ask, hey, can you have Bob do this next? Hey, I'm having trouble with this, or when's Bob going to get to the driver? I mean, it's unbelievable, these requests people will have. It blows your mind. So, now we're going to talk about editing the show. So when you first start, this is a screenshot of my phone here, and I know I was trying to trip you guys out because I was taking the screenshot and I was taking a picture of this slide. Anyway, so that's the thing that's going to show up first, okay? So right there where it says add an optional description, you want to have something kind of canned because that's what's going to be showing up right away while you are live, okay? So you don't want to just leave it blank, otherwise you'll look dumb. But you really should have some sort of a call to action, something planned, something a part of your strategy right there. So, for instance, usually when Bob goes live, I say, hey, we're talking about how to lengthen your drives today. Something like that. And then you can go back afterwards. You click that little down arrow right there. And the down arrow allows you to edit the post. And then I prefer to do this on my computer, so I'm not typing on my phone. I can go in and edit the post to actually include additional information. And you can do that after you post after you go live. It'll say, do you want to post this video? And you say yes, post. Do you want to save it? Yes. So you have to answer all those questions. And then you can put some teasers in there about your teaching points. You don't want to obviously give them all away, but you want to do whatever you can to try and get people to watch this post. This is the thing that we did just before I got on the airplane, actually. He was teaching people downhill a wise. And then you can actually even go in and pin this post to the top of the page. So a pinned post in Facebook is one where you mark it as a pin, and it just automatically, even if it's not sequential of your, normally your news feed would be sequential of the number of dates, but a pinned post is automatically at the top of the news feed. So you might want to pin your Facebook notification of the Facebook Live right at the top of your news feed. You can also, when you click that down arrow, this thing right here, when you click on this, it also gives you the option to embed. And when you embed, then it gives you a bunch of, it looks like gobbledygook, but it's real stuff. And then you can embed that into your website. This would come in handy for YouTube, all those types of things. And then you can also put an expiration date on there where it no longer is available on your news feed. So that might be something that, like, let's say you create your show this year and you want to repeat a lot of the things next year. Maybe you expire all of last year's things so that they're not able to rewatch that stuff. The best part about Facebook Live is it gives people a reason to communicate with you. Now you're going to want to do a little work here, and you have to understand, I've been working on this for a really long time, and I'm just giving you everything that I have learned how to do. I do not want you to go home and actually do all of this, okay, because you're not going to have enough time and you're going to be overwhelmed, okay? But I'm just giving you what's the step that you're going to take next, because some of you are going to go home, you're going to start Facebook Live, and boom, within a week you're going to be ready to do this. Some of you, it might take you, a month, 6 months. Let's just not let it be 18 years, okay? And so I'm going to give you a step to do next. So you also want to promote the show. I haven't gotten around to doing this because I wanted to make sure that I would in fact show up every week. I've been doing pretty good. I think I'm on week 6. So something smart would be to change your cover photo in your Facebook feed. Back to what Elena mentioned is that Canva, I made this in Canva. I love Canva. You also want to include information about it on your website. I know this doesn't specifically do that, but I was trying to just get some ideas because I haven't actually got to this level yet. But we have an event page on our website that gives every event that we have going on out of the golf course. And this is where people can find all sorts of information, how to sign up, links. It gives everything they possibly want. Yes, on October 15th, it's Bald and Free Day, and so if you're bald, you can play for free at our golf course.
That's discriminating.
You can shave your head, it's all good. My sister put in a turtle and a bald eagle, just to, try and help with the discrimination. All right. Okay. You can also write an email and let people know, hey, we're going live. This can be part of your weekly newsletter. Don't forget to head over to our Facebook at this time on this date to make sure they are attending your Facebook Live show. You can brand it. Once again, back to Rick and Pete. You can also write a post that shows up beforehand telling people, hey, don't forget to join us live. And then if you're gone, this goes back to communicating with your readers. Let people know that you're going to be gone. Because if you've done a good job, you've branded your Facebook Live show, and people are showing up, and they don't give you any time to screw up, okay? If you don't show up one day without telling them that I'm not going to be there, they're not going to come back the following week, okay? But they will if you say, hey, we're not going to be live next week. We're going to, I don't know where this was. So, Las Vegas, I guess. Anyway, that's the whole point. You gotta communicate with people. They will respond when you respond to them. Okay, the technology you need in order to do this. When you are just starting off, right now, all I'm using is my phone. Okay? You can do this. It is not hard. I also use my Page Manager app. I think it's easier to run a business using that as opposed to, it might be personal preference, but I'm just putting a plug in there for it, and I don't make any money from doing that. Anyway, I recommend using the app. Now when you get a little bit better, or maybe you have shaky hands, then you can get something that's called a stabilizer. And that, you just stick your phone in. They run about $100 or so. It's usually through Bluetooth. Sometimes it's a corded one. And so it just makes it so that your hand is steady. And it's great for tours and that kind of thing. So if you just walk through, I don't know what it is about it. It's weird. But it just makes a lot better video when you have the stabilizer attached to your phone as opposed to carrying it. Now, if you go from your desktop, because you can use your desktop for a Facebook Live, so this might be someone if they're going to do wedding tips or fundraising tips or whatever it is you decide to do. You can use a webcam. There's a couple of different mics you can use. Once again, this is not for a beginner. This is just, moving up what things are optional. And then when you get really good, and people are tuning in weekly and they love your live show, you can use a product called Wirecast. And this helps you brand your show. It gives you like countdowns of getting ready to start in 30 minutes. It sends out emails. It does all sorts of cool things, but obviously it costs money. So don't do that right away. Make sure you get a well-established show first. Oh, Wirecast. Okay, what time was it? I was going to make somebody go live, but I don't think I will.
Say no more.
Well, I was gonna have it be an NGCOA person because I was gonna have all of you guys watch them go live. Anyway.
We'll do it.
Right after they change their cover page. Okay, anyway, long story short, get out of your head, at least just give this a try because Facebook loves Facebook Live. And so every time I have posted a video, the less it's ever been viewed is about 3,000 times. That's what I'm talking about. The algorithm is set to prefer Facebook Lives right now. So if you're having trouble with organic reach, come up with some sort of a show and I know you're going to be successful. All right, now we get to do a break.